The digital pulse of the global financial system beats in an invisible realm, a network of unimaginable wealth transferred in milliseconds, a silent ballet of zeros and ones. But what happens when that ballet is hijacked, its delicate choreography twisted into a symphony of theft, orchestrated not by guns or masked figures, but by lines of malicious code? On a frigid Friday in February 2016, the world was about to find out. Deep within the fortified headquarters of the Bangladesh Bank in Dhaka, a quiet hum usually filled the air. It was a place of immense responsibility, safeguarding the nation's financial future. Established in 1971 after the nation's independence, the bank operated with steadfast reliability. Its governor, Atiur Rahman, a respected economist, often spoke of financial inclusion, of bringing modernity to a developing nation. He saw the bank as a pillar of stability, a guardian of public trust. Yet, beneath its reassuring facade, vulnerabilities festered, unseen and unacknowledged. The bank's connection to the SWIFT network, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, was their lifeline to global finance, allowing them to move hundreds of millions of dollars daily. This network, considered the gold standard of secure transactions, was a labyrinth of encrypted messages. But even fortresses have weak points, often in the most overlooked corners. The first whispers of trouble came not with a bang, but with a whimper: a printer malfunction. On Thursday, February 4, 2016, a critical printer responsible for processing SWIFT transaction confirmations sputtered to a halt. Technicians promised a fix by morning. Employees, accustomed to occasional hiccups in aging systems, shrugged it off. Little did they know, the printer's silence was not a malfunction. It was a carefully orchestrated gag, designed to blind them to a digital massacre unfolding in real time. As Dhaka slept, a shadowy collective thousands of miles away began their assault. No balaclavas, no forced entry. Their weapons were algorithms, their battlefield, the digital infrastructure of a sovereign nation. Weeks earlier, a cleverly disguised spear-phishing email had granted them initial access. An employee, clicking on a seemingly innocuous resume attachment, had unwittingly opened the gates to a Trojan horse. The malware, Drydex, burrowed deep, harvesting credentials, mapping the network, and identifying the critical SWIFT terminal. Under the cloak of night, they moved. 29 transfer requests, totaling nearly $1 billion, were directed from Bangladesh Bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York to entities in the Philippines and Sri Lanka. Each request bore all the hallmarks of legitimate SWIFT messages, complete with valid authentication codes. The Federal Reserve processed 5 of these requests, totaling $101 million, before an anomaly caught their attention. A request for $20 million destined for the Shalika Foundation in Sri Lanka contained a spelling error. A tiny crack in the meticulously built facade, but enough for Deutsche Bank to flag it. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the $81 million that had slipped through the Fed's defenses landed in 4 fictitious accounts at Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, RCBC, in Manila. Opened just days before the heist by branch manager Maia Deguito, they were seemingly legitimate yet utterly fabricated. The money began to vanish almost immediately. On Saturday morning, February 6th, the bank's systems remained silent. The weekend, usually a respite, became an accomplice, allowing millions to disappear into the global financial ether. Monday morning, when the IT team finally fixed the printer, it spewed forth not routine reports, but a chilling ledger of unauthorized transactions. "What is this?" A junior officer's voice cracked. "These aren't ours." The IT manager, Zunaid, felt a cold dread creep up his spine. "Run a cross-check. Immediately. Every transaction." The scale of the theft became horrifyingly clear. $81 million gone. Governor Rahman demanded answers from the Federal Reserve. But the money was already moving, a phantom on the wind. Investigators traced the trail to the Philippines. Maia Deguito insisted she was following orders from a wealthy Chinese-Filipino businessman named Kim Wong. The accounts were shell entities. The funds quickly funneled through remittance companies and casinos to obscure their origin. Millions were converted into chips, played, and cashed out, emerging seemingly clean and untraceable. The complexity of the laundering operation was staggering. Despite partial recoveries, much of the $66 million that slipped through remained lost in the unregulated labyrinth of Philippine casinos. Back in Dhaka, the political fallout was immense. Governor Rahman resigned. The Bangladesh government faced international scrutiny. The hackers, sophisticated and patient, had spent months inside the bank's network, learning its rhythms and exploiting weaknesses. Evidence pointed to a highly organized syndicate, possibly state-sponsored, with North Korea's Lazarus group emerging as a prime suspect. In the Philippines, Maia Deguito was eventually convicted of money laundering in 2019, sentenced to up to 56 years. RCBC was fined a record $21 million for systemic failures. Other individuals faced charges, but the true architects, the digital masterminds, remained elusive, operating from the shadows, their identities cloaked by encryption and proxies. The Bangladesh bank never fully recovered its losses. The incident left an indelible scar, a stark warning that even the most secure financial systems are vulnerable to the invisible enemy. A single, silent printer had heralded a new era in crime, where fortunes could be stolen with nothing more than a keyboard and malicious intent. The question still lingers: who truly orchestrated the hack that shook the world of global finance?